Hello everyone and welcome to this evening's live panel talk about covering the topic of life sciences. So today on the panel I'd just like to introduce myself. I'm Clea Devaney and I'm the Marketing and Student Recruitment Manager at ATU Sligo, and I'll be hosting the panel talk today. And I'm joined today by a selection of participants from ATU Sligo and also from NIBRT. So I'll introduce them all first. So we have Professor Neville McClenaghan, and Neville is our Head of Life Sciences Department here at ATU Sligo. Then we're joined also by Michelle Moore, who is an online student advisor at ATU Sligo. And finally, we have Dermot O'Sullivan, who is a bioprocessing trainer at the National Institute for Bioprocessing Research and Training, or as we call it, NIBRT. It's a nice short version of it. So our talk today will be roughly about 20 minutes. We're just going to have specific topics we talk about around the different offerings in life sciences at ATU Sligo for our part-time and online students. And there is an opportunity to ask questions through our live chat. So there is a button on the live platform where you're able to go into the live chat, and we have people there to answer your questions. So if anything comes up during the talk, please do feel free to jump onto that, and those questions will be answered. So I'll start today just by going through some initial questions and discussions with Professor Neville McClenaghan. So Neville, you're very welcome today.
Thank you.
And your department has a very strong portfolio of online part-time programs in the area of biopharmaceutical sciences. And really, I just wanted to kind of talk to you about that in terms of, you know, the biopharma industry, how it's evolving, and I suppose how everybody at ATU Sligo, in terms of the academic team, how you keep pace with the growing demand and the changes in the industry, because I know a lot of skills need to be built, you know, in order to keep up with the industry demand.
Okay, thanks for that. Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. We only have to turn on the television to know that there's a growing global prevalence of infectious and non-infectious diseases, and that presents really serious, pretty major societal and healthcare challenges. And of course, that requires a really diverse, agile and responsive industry with a very talented workforce to be able to generate the medicines, the medical devices, and a whole range of technologies that you need to develop to address those challenges. So strong industry links and partnerships during development and delivery best ensure that we as ATU Sligo offer a diverse and growing portfolio of relevant, flexible and applied undergraduate, postgraduate offerings. So we have a range of offerings, and of course people can look at the website. These include on-campus and online programs, special purpose awards, and other provision from level 6 right through to level 10. We're very proud of the fact that we've developed specialised programmes with other national HEIs, such as NUI Galway, in the increasingly important area of medtech regulatory affairs, Ulster University in biomedical and bioindustrial sectors. And of course, as you mentioned, we're very proud of the relationship that we have with NIBRT. And of course, close engagement with industry facilitates the development of that provision that we really need in the country to reskill, to cross-skill, to upskill employees, to make sure that those staff are able to deal with these emerging trends, emerging technologies. So if we take an example, our exciting new Bioindustry 4 programme in collaboration with NIBRT is specifically designed to meet the needs of the biopharmaceutical sector as it progresses towards greater integration of technology, data and agility so that it can remain internationally competitive. So that's a good example of an innovative ATU Sligo programme developed in line with the National Industry 4 Strategy 2020-2025, and also the recent launch by the Boston Consulting Group and NIBRT of the world's first innovation centre, which is dedicated to biopharm operations in Ireland. So we're really proud of the relationships that we have. We're proud of the offerings that we have. And also, really, we have a desire to make sure that we are producing the best graduates, the best people for the industry that's rapidly growing.
Yeah, that's great. And obviously hugely dynamic as well, like constantly changing and needing to stay at pace with all those changes. So that's a good example to give there about the new courses. Just on that, you know, again, the whole area of lifelong learning and continuing in education, that's something, again, that as a college, I know ATU Sligo is very much invested in because of the way we offer those programs. So particularly in the area of biopharma, you know, you would have had people who would have gone and got their undergraduate degree maybe, or who've gone into a role and maybe, you know, need to upskill, you know, that whole area of meeting that demand. How do you address that in your department?
Yeah, well, I suppose when you look at it, there's always been a change in the world of work right through history, and it's no different now. And those needs are driven by societal needs, new technologies, and indeed even the changing employer-employee needs and relationships, part-time working, flexible study. These are demands that we can see very clearly. So those changes naturally require and inform changes through anyone's educational journey. And so ATU Sligo must be enabled to respond appropriately to those needs. So in all of that, I suppose it's critical that all of higher education, like ourselves, have solid industry and external relationships. And we're really kept informed of the very latest research and innovations in the field to make sure that we've got the very best educational offerings that are up to date and are really giving people the latest knowledge that they need to be effective in the workforce, and also, of course, increase their ability to get and retain employment. Yeah. So really, I suppose we're about offering innovative, high-impact, flexible, lifelong learning opportunities, really to support, hopefully rewarding careers with pretty important socioeconomic contributions all across the world. And we're very proud of the fact that we're moving towards workplace-based learning. We've got a strong track record in Springboard Plus, and we've got a strong focus also on building qualifications, transferable skills, and thinking about job readiness, employability, and the ability for people to change job as well, because there's an increasing number of people that may want to change to a different role within their company. So really, students, I guess, want greater accessibility. They may have young families, they may have caring responsibilities. Indeed, they may be geographically remote from us or traveling with work. So we need to have flexible means of allowing access to relevant quality educational material, and obviously at a time whenever students can study. And I suppose my appeal to anyone who's listening to this today is, if those are the sort of values and whatever that appeal to you, then hopefully you might find the ATU Sligo as your HEI of choice.
Perfect. Yeah, no, definitely. And the strength in the online learning suite as well. It gives people that great choice and opportunity, you know, when they are actually trying to progress in a career or change career. And just finally, Neville, I just wanted to talk to you today about, I suppose, the academic profile within your department, you know, so you obviously have a lot of courses available and you need a strong team behind you to actually deliver those, you know, within that, within your department, you know, what experiences your academic team have?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's very important in answering that question, really, to firstly acknowledge and thank and commend my colleagues for the quality of both learning opportunities that they offer, and also how much emphasis they place on making sure that we're a welcoming and supportive place to learn. I think that's really, really important as part of the students' learning experience. And it's been widely acknowledged in student feedback just how much our staff actually care about them, and all the efforts that are made, both big and small, to give the students the very best learning experience. So I'm very proud of what our staff are doing and will continue to do. Now, as you say, we've got a distinguished track record in flexible learning, and we're one of the largest higher education providers of online learning in Ireland. That's a fact, and we've got a strong heritage there, and we've got a strong commitment to making sure that we continue to strive to evolve and maintain that growth in the years ahead. And of course, that requires a dedicated team of people that are teaching often at night and in various other different circumstances, which are not necessarily traditional for our sector. But really, I suppose in all of this, I'd hope that ATU Sligo remains an educational provider of choice for those that wish to work, advance their careers in the growing life sciences industry in Ireland. And we're always keen to hear from employers and our alumni as things that we can do to try and enhance what we're doing, to improve it, and to continue to evolve in the years ahead. So we're very, very thankful for the student community that we have, for the alumni community that we have, and as I said, with the great links that we have with a range of different other external people, including NIBER, which importantly are represented today. So thank you.
Great. Thanks, Neville. Yeah, no, that's leading us in nicely now to, I suppose, the other guests that we have on the panel today, because I'm joined by Michelle Moore, as I mentioned. She's an online student advisor, and I think that's something that's quite unique as well to what we offer here at ATU Sligo. So we have our a team who are actually able to support our students, and they're dedicated to specific programs, and they again get to learn and understand, you know, what ways they can support students through their learning journey, and make sure that they're experiencing all that ATU has to offer as well. And just because they're remote doesn't mean that they don't feel part of the community. So Michelle, I'm just going to pop on and chat to you now. If you could talk me through, one of the things that always strikes me, and Neville touched on it there, is the range. So you look after about 500 students, I believe, across a serious number of programs there from all different levels. And one of the things that strikes me is when I'm talking to lecturers and I'm talking to students, that, you know, there is the opportunity to progress, and there's progression routes, and people can come in at all different levels. So could you just talk to me a little bit about those kind of progression pathways that we have, and how you support the students?
In our biopharma suite of programs, we have programs from level 6 all the way to level 9. We offer both certificates with 30 credits of learning and full award programs such as a higher cert or a BSc right up to master's level. So a student who was wishing to join us at level 6 would ideally have a qualification such as a Leaving Cert, and as you go up the levels, the qualifications change. So an entry requirement to a level 8 would be a level 7 qualification. A level 8 qualification is required for an MSc entry. Mm-hmm. Students can complete a number of certificates with 30 credits of learning and combine these to gain a major award. And a lot of our certificate programs are actually funded through an initiative called Springboard, which makes it easy achievable for students to fund their progression through the different levels. Yeah. So we have a full offering from level 6 to level 9.
It is great, and I know as a student advisor, again, you are very conscious of that when people come to you in terms of their applications, you know, to make sure that they are applying at the right level, that they are able to, that they're aware of the kind of progression routes as well that are available to people. We have published a new prospectus for our online learning students just there in the last couple of weeks, and I know in that there is the chart kind of that shows those routes. You know, would you get queries on that a good bit as well?
Yes, we would have a lot of students who start at level 6 biopharma processing, and they then come back on completion of that because they've enjoyed the learning and the flexible delivery, and they want to then progress to the next level. And in fact, they generally want to then progress to achieve a BSc at level 7. So we would direct them on the courses and the options available to achieve this in the quickest time frame.
Yeah, no, it's great to see, because again, I think as well, you have a lot of people coming into the industry, and there's huge demand, as Neville said, for graduates. So, you know, if you're working in the industry and you don't have the qualifications, it's great to be able to work your way up through. Just in terms of anybody who's thinking of applying to ATU Sligo this year, again, I know you're involved in terms of reviewing applications initially and working with our academic teams to kind of make sure people meet the entry requirements. Have you got advice for people when they are actually applying? Because again, you know, I think in the suite that we offer in the life sciences department, you know, sometimes you probably would get a lot of queries around which is the best suited course for somebody.
If a student is starting off and their highest qualification to date is the Leaving Cert, then they would be recommended to apply for one of our level 6 programs. If they have an existing qualification like a level 6, then the recommendation would be that they would apply to a level 7. Their previous qualifications, however, should be cognate. But I would always direct students to read the website the particular program page because it has a wealth of information available, general information on the career perspectives, the modules included in the program, the credits they're worth. When they click on the specific module, it will bring them to the module descriptor with more information. There's an assessment breakdown on the style of assessment. Some of our programs are continually assessed. Some have terminal exams at the end of semesters. So it's good to get an understanding of the assessment breakdown. There are different styles of assessment, quizzes online, long quizzes, short quizzes, assignments, projects. The full range are included on the website. There's a breakdown of fees. Students can pay the fees in installments. So it's very flexible. There's a wealth of information. It's important for students to realise upfront the commitment that's required in terms of the number of hours per week. Mm-hmm. So each lecture is delivered for 1 hour a week. If you're doing 2 modules per semester, that's 2 hours of learning per week, and the recommended extra time for private learning revision is 4 to 5 hours per 5-credit module.
Oh yeah, that's a really, really good guide. And now I'm just going to move on now to speak to, thank you, Michelle, for giving us all that information and advice for our students. I'll just move on now to speak to Dermot. So Dermot O'Sullivan is joining us from NIBRT, as I mentioned, and he's a bioprocessing trainer. And Dermot, if you could just talk to us today about NIBRT specifically and the opportunities that ATU Sligo students are offered when they are studying with ourselves, where the programme is co-delivered with our partners NIBRT.
Absolutely, thanks for that, Cleo. So as part of the development of the courses, we at NIBRT, we've worked with biopharma industry in Ireland in order to ensure that the programmes that we actually deliver, they do allow students to really develop the skills and the competencies to actually work in this sector. Mm-hmm. Now, industry, they have all identified the needs for hands-on practical trainings in a GMP environment, and NIBRT is actually capable of providing this. And don't forget, you know, NIBRT, we are the only such training facility in Ireland. So, as part of NIBRT's and ATU's program, students, they will complete a practical element within the NIBRT facility, which itself has been specifically designed to provide comprehensive, hands-on practical experience in a CGMP biopharmaceutical facility. So take, for instance, our biologic production plant. So it's located within a clean room environment, and training operates to GMP standards. It consists of an extensive upstream suite, and the upstream suite would include things like seed and production bioreactors, disc stack centrifugation. We also have a downstream suite, and that would include chromatography, viral clearance, ultrafiltration, diafiltration equipment. And then we would have our fill finish suite, and that showcases our vial filling isolator and our RABs, our restricted access barrier system. Now, NIBRT actually has associated support services such as media and buffer prep, as well as extensive bioanalytical labs. So, as part of the program, students, they also develop troubleshooting skills. So, you know, communication, teamwork, planning, and conceptual skills and whatnot. And then when it comes to, you know, very important things like networking, you know, networking for the actual students would be promoted through things like NIBRT events featuring speakers from industry, NIBRT careers in biopharma events, NIBRT biotech clusters such as Career Zoo, free access to Springboard Plus students and alumni, and that's to over 30 plus industry workshops, events and seminars that are held in NIBRT every year.
So that's fantastic. Like, again, it just sounds like it's so well matched to industry demand. You've got your theory, and then you have your practical experience that people are basically job ready when they finish their course and their training between ATU Sligo and NIBRT. And roughly, like, again, how often do students attend the NIBRT facilities or have training? And maybe it varies course to course, I know, but maybe your example of where you actually are involved in training.
Absolutely. So obviously for the past 2 years, things have been a bit different with the pandemic, where we've had to transition from on-site to online. So before the pandemic, depending on the course, we would have students come up. It could be for a 2 or 3 day course, and that would incorporate both lectures and hands-on practicals, depending on which area, which module that you were doing. Following on from the pandemic, now it is the hope that we will sort of transition to both an online and an on-site hybrid working model. So lecturing will be done online, and then for on-site practicals, students will be able to come on site. So as you said, it all depends on which modules that the students will be doing, but it could be from anywhere from just a day or 2 up to 3 or 4 days.
Very good, very good. And again, that's all well signposted in advance, like students kind of can plan around it and know when this is coming up, but it's high value in terms of the learning. So to be able to go and actually experience that is definitely beneficial for everybody involved.
Absolutely.
And just in terms of then, just last question to you, Dermot, today is around the graduates, kind of the roles that people have. What do they, again, where do you see people progressing on to when they've come to NIBRT, when they've done, again, maybe a joint course with ATU Sligo, what roles are generally people kind of progressing to?
Another great question. It's interesting because not only do we support academic groups, we also liaise with industrial partners who send their staff out to NIBRT to get trained up in certain aspects of the bioprocess. And very often we come across trainees that have been with industry that have actually previously done ATU Sligo courses. So it's a great way to try and get feedback from them to see what roles they've transitioned into, what roles they've gotten with industry. And it runs the gambit. So just in my own personal experience, we've had ATU Sligo students who've done a course with NIBRT and then got positions in industry in roles as myriad as scientists, scientific technicians, engineers, engineering technicians, production, manufacturing technicians. We've also had some process quality validation roles, product design, development engineers, that's in relation to research and development. And we've had 1 or 2 as well from quality assurance and quality control. So it really does run the gambit from upstream, downstream, fill finish to technical roles to QA roles, things like that.
Yeah, so there's something there to support everybody. I suppose that's it. Like, and again, speaking to Neville and Michelle and yourself, I think that's the thing to highlight within the life sciences department at ATU Sligo. You can come in at a level 6, you can progress all the way through, and the job opportunities are there because the industry demand is there for these skilled graduates. So, it's a sure thing, if you go and invest in upskilling and retraining in that sense. So look, we could probably talk for another hour, but unfortunately our time is up today, and I know I didn't get to cover off everything we'd hoped to cover today. But as I said at the start, if people have questions, there is a live Q&A feature, and we have other online student advisors available to answer those questions. And applications are now open for all the courses that we touched on today, and we're accepting applications right up to the 31st of August. And we do have further live events happening throughout July and August. So again, if you want more information on any of the courses we mentioned today, I'd recommend you follow us on our social channels and you register for future events, and you will find out more about what ATU Sligo has to offer. So I'll just finally say thank you very much to Professor McClenaghan, to Michelle Moore, and to Dermot O'Sullivan today for joining us, and I look forward to speaking to you all again soon.